You know, they say in the text, in the Lamrim text, if old age would come overnight, we would surely die of a heart attack. And then they describe it, you know, very, very kind of realistic. Like you have, you know, your hair where you want it, it falls out. It grows where you don't want to have it, like in your nose and in your ears. For women, like around here or here. That's the way it is, isn't it? So a lot of money is being earned with this because we don't recognize it as being normal. When you want to get up, it's like a tree that you have to pull out of the earth. And when you, that's what I just did now. When you sit down, it's like a sack of potatoes that somebody's, you know, on a string, and somebody cuts the string and you go, so there you go. These are the signs of old age. Absolutely normal. You know, nothing to worry about. It will happen to all of you young ones. So that's not so bad. You know, what is kind of disturbing is if we hold on to desperately being young. I remember, you know, this is it. When there's so many people, then I always look somewhere, but I not necessarily look at you personally, just so that you know that. Yeah, okay? So at one point, to Shita also, we were talking about old age, and I was just, you know, I don't know where to look. And I was just looking in one direction towards the people, and all of a sudden somebody, a man, says, "I'm not old." I said, "Well, sorry, I didn't say that." He said, "Yeah, but you looked at me when you said it." I said, "Well, sorry." So I said, "So what are you, elderly?" I think it's even worse, I think, you know, elderly people. It's okay to be old, no problem. You know, you have the opportunity of still changing something. If you still want to change something, you have much more time, unless you have a lot of grandchildren, like here in Israel also, like, you know, then you have to look after them. Of course, it's a lot of joy, but maybe not so much time to work with your mind or something like that. So you have to choose, you have to see what you want to do with your life. And definitely, yeah, it's the thing is, you know, I mean, it's a bit difficult that that everybody can see me, but it's okay. If the main thing is that you can hear me because there's many people and so like that. So again, trying to create the perfect situation is probably a little bit difficult. So try to be just patient. But if you see that you're sitting in somebody's kind of view and you can move, then by all means do. Also, there is still one free place here, which is that has free view, totally. So there's another one there, which also has free view. So then, if you feel that you would like to see more, then you can come here. Okay. So, you know, I mean, this whole thing, it's what's it called? It's the Forgiving Day or whatever. Some people can get really upset, you know. Tibetans, if I go back now after maybe 10 years, they would look at me and say, "Oh, wow, you've aged, and gosh, you've gone so fat." You know, because before I was like this. And that's reality, and they say it, they notice it. Also being thin with the Tibetans is not a good thing. You know, if I would have lost weight, they would be very concerned and say, "Oh, are you sick?" You know, whereas when you are putting on weight, and as you get older, it's a good thing. It means you're still comfortable, you can eat as much as you want. So it's cultural, this whole thing. Also in the South Pacific, where I spent a lot of time, being thin is absolutely not a good thing. Yeah, you have to be fat, actually. And I tell you, because that's a good thing, people in the South Pacific, they move their fat bodies with so much graciousness that is really beautiful to see, because they're not trying to hide it, because it's a good thing. Of course, not healthy. If we look at health, maybe it's not healthy. But then also this whole thing about, always being concerned about how the body looks and how it is and this and that, it's like, can go to an excess like it does here. I think a little bit in the West, doesn't it? We're very much body oriented. Okay, so yesterday we said, Leodor, like these wonderful things when they say, name it, you can tame it, means your kind of wild emotions. Feel it, then you can heal it. Sounds very nice, doesn't it? But I think in order to, name it is okay. That's already the first step towards, being. Is it too loud? Yeah. Yeah. If you don't hear well, come here. Like, the space is free. So you can move around. If you see somewhere where you feel more comfortable, get up and move, It's not a prison here. So, okay, so name it, you can tame it. I think that's already a good thing, because the moment you name it, you are in your awareness, recognizing something, and you're not caught in the emotion. That I think anybody can do. Feel it, you can heal it. I'm not sure. If you have absolutely no methods and no means how to deal with it, or how to transform it, or how to, the ability to just let it be, not identifying with it, I'm not sure if that's really just as simple as that. I can do that. Anybody else who does mindfulness meditation goes to mindfulness groups, whether they're Buddhist, not Buddhist, whatever. If you train awareness, mindfulness, you can do it. If you don't do that, and you've been hiding and kind of pushing these emotions down, I'm not sure if it's. I'm not saying it's not beneficial. I'm just saying it can be quite dangerous. So be aware, the mind is coming up with all kinds of strategies how to avoid pain. So one of a very skillful strategy, I would say, is when you know where is my safe space that I can always go to. It's not Nes Amim. It's not Tel Aviv. It's not Sde Boker. It's not even Dharamsala. Especially not there. So noisy and so many people and traffic jams and it's like a crazy place. But Gaia even more crazy with all the But it's inspiring because the Buddha was practicing there. So I'm not talking about the space outside. I'm talking a space inside, because inside we can always go. And the Dalai Lama, he talks a lot about inner peace. So you have to be able to find that space when you need it. So finding it here, because this is why also we're asking you to be in silence, because finding it here can be very easy. Nobody talks, you don't have to get upset, you don't have to answer, you don't have to prove that you're intelligent and witty and you understand everything the other person is saying. You don't have to give any answer that makes sense or is intelligent. You don't have to be anybody. This is the nice thing. If you're in silence, this constant ego thing of wanting to be special and seen and remarked, but only by those I like, not by the others. But excuse me, if you put a honey pot there, it will attract flies, bees, other insects, maybe nice butterflies, yes, but also things that you don't want. So if you want to be very attractive, well, it attracts a lot of people. If you want to be very famous, it will also attract a lot of people. So you need to know, I tell you, life, by being a nobody, it has so many advantages. Nobody wants anything from you. If you're somebody, people always want something from you, and on top of it, you always have to be kind and considerate, especially if you're nun, you know. And it's good because it's good for my training, but still, you know, I'm talking to these people now that think that, oh, you know, I'm such a nobody and blah blah. I tell you, it's so nice to be a nobody. Nobody will want anything from you. Then you can work with your mind, find that safe space. Yeah. But ego doesn't like this so much. So it's just the ego. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at people. I'm not talking to you personally, okay? I'm talking in general. I'm just talking in general. I'm not meaning anybody personally. If you feel that it means something for you, then it is for you. If it doesn't mean anything, then you can just relax and say, oh, good thing I'm not like that. I don't want to be special. But let's just do half a minute. You catch it. This thing about wanting to be special. You can feel it. We think we don't have it, but we can feel it. But you have to go inside. So you're starting to create space here. So don't look at me. Okay, I'm not your ego. I have one, a huge one, my own. Yeah, of course, like everybody else. Don't look at me. But, you know, maybe you already felt this thing, I'm special. Maybe not getting the bed you want. Maybe not being in the room with the people you want. Maybe I didn't recognize you because you've done courses with me before. How did you feel? Don't look at me, really go inside. You need to feel these feelings so that we don't judge others that they have it as well, because we all have it. And this is why we're having problems. I think here is what? Miageli or Magali or something like this. You know, they owe it to me, kind of. How is it called? Magieli. Israelis have zero imagination. If I would say Coca-Cola, you would still understand what I'm saying. No? Yes. Coca-Cola? See, that's what I mean. Everywhere else, people would understand what you want. In Israel, if I mispronounce a little bit, no idea. So this is why, I don't even try to learn Hebrew properly. So be aware of that. With people who are trying to learn Hebrew, you are so unimaginative when some non-Hebrew speakers try to say something in Hebrew. You don't even try to figure it out. You just don't understand. Just for somebody, yeah. Because sometimes I think, come on, I say it right. Why don't you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes I also say it totally wrong. That's true. Like this Sukkot thing, an etrog. I thought it was a trog. A. So I was saying, I think to Chaya, and I said, yeah, and then I was there in the square and they sold all these trogs. And she was kind of going, what? And I tried to explain. And she said, oh, an etrog. I said, yes. Okay. So this is how I find out. You see, also the other languages I know, except for German, I never learned with writing and things like that, so very often, especially French also. I think it means that, but it means something totally different, or that one writes it totally different. Une menthe à l'eau. Yeah? Une menthe à l'eau. It's like syrup, peppermint syrup with water. It says menthe, peppermint à l'eau is like water. L-E-A-U-O, right? So in my head, it was M-E-N-T-A-L-O, Montalo. But they still understood. All the waiters understood when in my head, I said, Montalo. And they said, Montalo. They understood. Here in Israel, I think they wouldn't. Anyway, So, feeling special, have you picked it out? Maybe remember a moment only, while you're here. Have you felt that feeling special? Yeah? Not getting what you want, but having this thing, why I'm expecting it. Having lots of expectations. And this is why we suffer. Because we have so many expectations how people should treat us. And very often when you get angry, it's always, they make me angry. I'm angry because of them. And it can be very short moments of irritation and annoyance, by the way, which, again, I hope people who know me, they know that I like you. But this is why I dare to say things like that. Yeah, like Israelis are very good at getting irritated immediately. It's a training of the mind. It seems to me sometimes, you're not a good Israeli if you're not irritated very quickly. And that's dangerous because it becomes a habit. And the moment you're irritated, you cannot enjoy life anymore. You might be, your ego, your special ego becomes very big and very good and feels very smart. They're not doing what I want them to do. She's not saying what I want her to say. Well, I told you I want to stop teaching. Anyway, so kind of, it spoils that inner space that we have. It takes up all the space, and it doesn't give you anything. And if you don't recognize it in yourself, try to see it in other people. When I was with the group in Part1, I kind of told them about a lady who is incredibly rich, still beautiful in her 80 years, famous. She is constantly depressed. She doesn't find any pleasure in anything. She has like art objects in her house that, even insurances don't want to insure it because it's too expensive, because there's not enough security in her house. She doesn't find pleasure anywhere. And it's always other people's fault. Do you know people like this? Is it easy to make them happy? Impossible. Do we keep trying to make them happy? Does it work? No. So give up. You cannot. What we have to learn is to appreciate them the way they are. Just to be there, just to listen to them. It's very difficult. Because I would have so many good methods how she could be happy. But she doesn't want to listen. Or she listens and then she gets upset and with your Buddhist stuff. But she likes me to be there. Because I've learned to accept her the way she is. And also I said, look, because at one point she was crying, just sitting on a bed in the morning. Morning is always the most difficult time for her. She wakes up already being depressed. Then the day is already spoiled. She's sure that this will last all day, and it will last all day, of course. Yeah?
You describe a sickness.
Sorry?
It's a sickness.
Yeah, but nothing else. But you can change this sickness, I'm sorry. You can change any sickness if you find the cause. And the cause is you feel very special.
In fact, she doesn't.
Huh?
She doesn't change it.
Let's not therapy her, okay? Maybe you recognize something in yourself. This is for you, don't worry about her, you don't know who she is. Otherwise I would mention her. So, it's like, again, close your eyes, try to feel it. Have I ever felt like this, I was upset, I was angry. Why was it? What needs of others did not get fulfilled? What needs of mine did not get fulfilled, sorry. How does it make you feel? And what are you going to do now with this? I am so special. You have to challenge that. Why am I so special? Why do I think I'm so great? It can go the other way around also. You can think I'm so bad. Now I give you some space, okay? But again, I see people just looking at me. Try not to look at me. Really go inside. Don't be afraid. Close your eyes. And then you think, I, me. Already in this group, I'm just one small particle here. Don't look at me. Go inside. What does it do when we think like that? I'm just one of many in this group. And then we expand the mind. We go outside. Okay, the kibbutz, the hotel is pretty empty, but around there's more people. Amongst those, I become even smaller, more insignificant. Then we go the whole country. Amongst those, how do I belong? If you do it, it's really liberating, I tell you. Then we think about all the beings in the universe. If you look, all the beings in the universe and me, are you still so special? I'm not attacking anybody, just I'm trying to give you the safe space that you can always go to by this one sentence. I am just a tiny, tiny, tiny particle in this universe. Try to feel that. This is reality. And it gives you so much space. And try to enjoy it. What does it do? Observe. With this feeling it, healing it, blah, blah, the whole thing. I am just a tiny, tiny particle in this universe. And I am not alone. When people feel lonely, it's another huge illusion. We're constantly surrounded by countless beings who want exactly the same thing as me. When we feel special, we don't recognize that anymore, and we lose the connection. And then we get afraid, depressed, angry, low self-esteem, the whole thing. That space that we have created, we fill it with the thought, I am a good person. I see people making notes. I would like you to feel it. It's much more valuable than your notes, because then it wires in your brain. Concentrate on yourself, not on grasping on anything. It's recorded, so you can always go back to the recording. I'm a tiny particle in this whole universe. I'm never alone. I'm constantly surrounded by numberless sentient beings who want the same thing as I do. Being happy, not wanting to suffer. I am not special. My happiness is not more important than other people's happiness. Big shock for the ego. Ooh. Ego goes, don't believe it. Your happiness is the most important in the world. Like the golem in the what's it called? Lord of the Rings. Don't believe it. She's lying. Be careful. Humor also creates space. Do you notice the space? When you smile, when you laugh. That's one thing of depression, you know. You try to cheer people up. They put so much energy in not wanting to smile, because then the depression is gone. Ego is gone. There's space. Try to go back to the thought, I am never ever alone. I can always open my heart towards other beings, even if they're very far away, or if they're sitting right next to me and getting on my nerves. Because they want the same thing as I. They want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. Try to feel the effect. Let your neurons wire this medicine for the sickness of ego-centeredness. And you feel it again. I am a good person. Try to see whether this takes up all the space or if it makes more space. Go there. I'm not alone. I'm a tiny particle in this world, but I'm a good person. Without ifs and buts. Just that. You hear the sound of a baby, that can also produce a safe space. So don't make him go to sleep, make him make a bit more sounds. And then you just concentrate on the sounds of a baby. Don't look, go inside. Go to your heart, where that space is. Okay, we can do the same thing we did in Upsal. We had a baby and the baby was crying. So if the baby starts to cry, don't go out. We need it. We need Elliot. So you might have seen him. So don't look back. Just bring up the picture in your mind. And look at your heart. When you think about a baby, don't think about your baby or your grandchildren. It's too intense. And then we, this innocent, vulnerable thing that will not be able to harm me at the moment in any way, then we dare to open up the heart, isn't it? And then we think, may Elliot be safe. Is the name of the baby, okay? And you try to feel what this thought is doing to your heart. This is how we train the mind, by feeling what is going on. But we need to feel the good stuff first, before you go to the difficult things. So again, just think about any baby. And then we expand it. And think, may all the babies be safe. And again, you watch, what is it doing to me? It's not your responsibility, it's just a wish. In Buddhism, one dies, one gets reborn, if one has the good luck to be reborn as a human, as a baby. So we will all end up to be babies again.